Hello everyone, the Skilled Roy here, back with another Legends of Runeterra video. For those of you unaware, the Shuriman set is now coming out and is looking super exciting. They recently had a trailer that introduced us back to Shurima and showed us all sorts of the new champions we can come to expect. However, there's been some talk because unfortunately the champions of the expansion have already been leaked out. You see, voice lines have been confirmed for a variety of champions, and interestingly enough, it seems like one champion in particular is missing. This expansion should have 15 champions in the base set. After all, the number of champions always increases by 2 from the previous set. You can tell this because every other region gets 1 champion, and then the region we're going to has to then match that number, so therefore increasing as well. To put this in perspective, Bilgewater had 11 total champions. Then after that, Targon had 13, which means now Shurima will have 15 total champions. Yet only 14 names were leaked. So why is that? Well, of course, let's talk about spoiler warnings. Real quick, guys, if you guys don't want to be spoiled what's coming out, please avert your ears. Do not watch the rest of this video, even though I'd really appreciate it. You know, I want you to make sure you guys are happy and not spoiled unless you really want to see what's coming next, okay? All right, spoiler warning over. Here we go. So right off the bat, let me catch you up to speed. The champions that were leaked are Jarvan, Lissandra, LeBlanc, Kindred, Pyke, Aurelia, Echo, Malphite, Sivir, Taliyah, Renekton, Nasus, Azir. This makes up 14 total champions when the expansion, again, was supposed to have 15. As you can see, most champions are pretty tied to a region that's strongly associated with them. The only region that doesn't have an obvious answer here is Targon. Now initially, a lot of people thought that Aphelios' champion expansion counted towards this number of 15. This would also explain why there's a gap where Targon is. But thankfully, Riot Umbridge, Legends of Runeterra's director, stepped in and said that the Targon would still be receiving a champion in Shurima, and Aphelios was just in addition to the previous set. Now this is awesome, we're getting more content than we even expected, but it still leaves us an important question. Who is the Targonian Champion? Now, this is a question a lot of people have asked themselves already, but I want to be clear here. None of the champions listed above are actually confirmed to be in a particular region, so let's revisit that list. Looking back at it, we know that some are almost certainly locked to a region. For example, Jarvan IV in Demacia, Echo in PNZ, but one champion in particular has a little bit more freedom than one might think. That, of course, is Malphite. Malphite currently is generally regarded as an Ixtal champion. However, obviously Ixtal isn't in the game right now, so where is he going to end up? A lot of people suggested Shurima because Ixtal is closely connected to it geographically and thought it would make sense there. However, looking recently into his updated bio, we can actually see that they specifically mention he travels between Zaun and Targon quite often. So I did some digging into the voice lines. There are over 4,000 completely undocumented and unorganized voice lines that are part of the Datamine that we got, and unfortunately, it took me a long time to go through all of them. So real quick, here are the voice lines that prove that Malphite has something to do with mountains.
I am very strong like a mountain, because I am a mountain. Like mountain, like hill. There goes cliff, down the valley, falling.
You're just like your mountain.
As you can see, or I guess here, Malphite is pretty obviously related to the mountain, with especially lines that refer directly to him being a part of it or owning it. Keep in mind, of course, there's also many Golem-like followers who share his same voice modulations, also speaking about the mountain and Mount Targon. So I think it's a pretty safe lock that Malphite is Targon here. So great, we've perhaps proven here that Malphite is going to be the Targon champion and not actually the Shuriman champion like some people have assumed. But it doesn't change the fact we're still missing one champion. So who could it be? Well, you see, I had a small hunch, and I decided to reach out to Skin Spotlights, one of the prolific data miners for a lot of this information, and ask them something. As I suspected, the collection of voice lines that were data mined do not include sound effects. What does this mean? This means that a lot of followers in this gigantic voice line pack don't actually exist. Like, for example, Screeching Drake, because he's considered a sound effect and not a voiceover because he just makes roars and screeches, I guess. This means we need to look for a champion who does not actually speak in Shurima, and there is only one real answer to this, and that of course is Reksai. Reksai is a void monster who operates kind of like a sand shark as she burrows through the ground and sand and chases after prey across Shurima. She's also the queen of the Reksai brood of Voidborn, and they terrorize Shurima by attacking merchants and just about anyone they can catch. Reksai doesn't speak, however, unlike many of the other void champions, and instead speaks entirely through growls and roars. These sound effects are not classified as voiceover by the game's files as we've seen with the dragons, commands and would explain the absence of her apparent voice lines. However, just because she doesn't have voice lines doesn't mean others don't have voice lines with her, so immediately I started looking at some possible options. The first one that came to mind, of course, as a very biased Pyke main, I just happened to sort of come across some lines with him and a particular champion arrival quote. These quotes play when he's on board and a champion arrives with him on his side.
Sand shark looks good to me.
As you can hear, he strictly refers to this arriving champion as a sand shark. That means that this arriving champion, unless there's another sand shark champion I don't know about, has to be Reksai. Doesn't even stop there either. There's actually, in fact, a ton of voice lines about Reksai and the apparent danger of being swarmed by them, as we have a bunch of NPCs and other characters mention them offhandedly or be panicked about them.
Hey, I fought a Reksai for this jacket.
It's calling the others. We have to go.
And of course, as soon as I was writing the script, we actually got some new units spoiled just for us today, which actually showed Zillion using time magic to fight off against the Void threat. We also see a lot of his followers constantly fighting off against the Void creatures. Without a doubt, we can actually see multiple Void tendrils and Void-related objects all appearing within Shurima. It's not unrealistic to say that a part of Shurima's identity will have some Void stuff in it because we can already see some arriving here. Furthermore, we even see cards such as Raz, who literally are on top of a corpse of a Reksai monster. This is pretty evident to me at least, but I think this is at least a great piece of evidence that shows that the final champion for Shurima could very well be Reksai. And I mean, like, come on, let's be fair here. The final expansion is called Rise of the Underworld, and I can't think of another perfect name for a tunneling sand shark champion who jumps out from the underground of Shurima than a literal Rise of the Underworld. Speaking of which, Rise of the Underworld also really fits her partner champion who we know she shares interactions with, Pyke. After all, he often mentions the sinking city, and he represents those from beneath the water surface, aka Underworld. Of course, as always with all my theories, this is just purely speculation. Just take it with a grain of salt. I want to put that idea into your mind and maybe it makes sense for you. But otherwise though, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you want to talk to me or spout out some more cool ideas for Legends of Runeterra, please hit me up in the Discord. Otherwise, I will catch you guys later. Peace out.